Hi, my name is Alyssa Cole, and I'm going to tell you about two technologies that I'm interested in using in my classroom. After reading about Chapter 6 in the New Literacies Reader and seeing what they're doing with digital storytelling, I was looking through Kathy Schrock's Guide to Everything, and I saw some more information about digital storytelling. And one thing that was really interesting to me was using Google Slides to make different comics. Here is an example of a comic that was made to reinforce science concepts. So I'm going to click through it so you can see it. The students can make the backgrounds and the characters and type in the words. And they can make a little story about a science concept, and at the end here there is a definition. Here's a PowerPoint that was done by Eric Kurtz, who is a technology integration specialist, and he has some reasons as to why you should have your students create comic strips. It's an option for projects, it enhances creativity, you can incorporate both visual and written information and improve narrative writing skills, and it's fun. There are some other ideas for using comic strips here. One of them is to illustrate a concept from class, such as a property of science like we just saw, or to retell a story or a portion of a story they have read for class, or to reenact a famous scene from history. One thing that I'd really like to do is have my students retell a story. I noticed after our last GRA assessments that is one skill that all of my students really need to work on. Another technology that I'm interested in incorporating into my classroom is called Prodigy. It's a game that enhances math skills. So this is one of my students' games. I have logged in as a student, and as you can see, the students can pick their own character and make them look like themselves, and then they would go through and battle these different characters, and in order to win the battle they have to get a question correctly. So they would choose the answer and then cast a spell, as you can see here, and then the character will battle back to them, and then they keep going. I teach Common Core math, and so after the lesson the students are required to do a problem set, and they aren't very motivated to do their problem sets, so I thought that this would be a good way to get them motivated. If they finish their problem set and work hard and answer most of the questions correctly, then they could move on to the game as an early finisher activity. I have actually used it the past week, and my students have been doing really well. They're all trying to get their problem sets done, and I usually allow the whole class to play for at least 5 minutes after the last student has finished their problem set, as long as they're working hard, and they do really love it. This is what it looks like when you log into Prodigy as a teacher, so you can see how much time your students are spending on Prodigy, what their weekly activities are, and how well they did on their placement test and their different lessons. I can also go through and schedule different lessons according to what I'm doing in class. And so what I've done is just New York State test prep for now, since the students don't do it that often. I thought it would be a good way to prepare for the New York State test. This is an article that I found on the effectiveness of Prodigy, and the number one thing is that I think that it would increase student engagement to make math more enjoyable. As you can see here, that is one of the things that they found when they were studying Prodigy. It also develops or delivers an RTI approach, and you are allowed to adjust the content according to the students' individual knowledge gaps, which I think is really cool. So these are two technologies that I'm really interested in using.